Hey, you clicked on my video. Appreciate it. Now be sure to like the video and subscribe to the page. Long enough to cover the subject and short enough to keep it interesting. Welcome to Outta My League. I'm Nick Diaz. What are you most excited to watch for LSU football this year? Oh, don't tell me. It's the quarterback battle. Okay, you can't say quarterback. What's the thing you're most excited for to watch this season? Or it's the wide receivers, or maybe the defensive line. Okay, I'll give you one that no one's talking about. The coaching. Think about this. When was the last time LSU didn't have dysfunctional coaching on game day? Maybe 2007? Maybe? But then you've got those two games where they lost to Kentucky and Arkansas that were triple overtime losses. You could say 2019, but that defense was being meddled with by Ed Ogeron, and every time Dave Aranda finally got his way at halftime, the defense usually played well. I mean, even in 2005 and 2006, Jimbo and Les Miles went at it with their game plan on offense, just butting heads and fighting with each other. I mean, think about it. Every single year since 2005, LSU has seen coaching has coordinators that can't get along, that are fighting in the locker rooms, that can't agree on game plans, that are screwing up basic football 101 game management skills and clock management, and just screwing up underachieving players and not developing them properly, or stupid penalties. You have an outdated scheme that they won't update. Whatever. Just shit that kept you up at night for the past 18 years, where you just laid in bed going, why the hell can't LSU just execute the basic shit that every other damn team in the country does? Why? Why is it so hard? Now, that's not going to be a problem anymore. From here on out, just clean, solid, no bullshit football. Just clean football. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. No more bullshit. If another team beats LSU, you know what? I'll rest my head easy at night and say, good for them. They were just the better team. See, when people look at success and they wonder, well, how did that person become so successful? They usually look at the thing that they see the most. But the thing that actually makes you successful is the stuff that no one ever pays attention to or sees. Because people, they usually look for the flashiest, sexiest thing that they see day in and day out, and they try to emulate that. So, for example, when all the idiots in the world say that, well, Coach O can make gumbo and speaks Cajun French, I think that's why he won in 2019. Well, Brian Kelly can't do that, so I guess he won't win at LSU. But what those idiots don't realize is guys like Brian Kelly win everywhere they coach, not because of all the flashy stuff that you hear about and see about, but because of the boring stuff, like the organization of paperwork, or now digital paperwork, the questionnaire process when interviewing assistant coaches, the applied science of sports psychology with players. Oh, that's real exciting shit. Outlining practice plans every single day. A lot of boring, academic, pencil-pushing office BS that you gotta do to be good. Not play loud music at practice, drink Red Bull, get a lift in with the boys at the gym, and give a rousing halftime speech. It's everything else. It's everything else. And Brian Kelly is as good at those things as anyone in college football. And Kelly spoke with the Baton Rouge Rotary Club yesterday, something every LSU coach does the week before fall camp. And Kelly explained to some very powerful boosters why he's won everywhere he's been.
I think it was mentioned that there was a Midwesterner here back in 2000, and many people talked about me coming down from the Midwest and how would coach fit in down here in the South. From that perspective, I don't care where you're from. It's really simple for me. 32 years of being a head football coach, I have a plan, and my plan is pretty simple. I've used it pretty much for my entire career. Certainly, I've learned along the way through mistakes that I've made, and I've made the adjustments accordingly to be better at my job.
If you'll notice, he said it's very simple. The plan is very simple. I believe this was either Jimmy Johnson who said this, or maybe it was someone else. I can't remember. But they said you can tell a coach is good or bad by the number of rules they have put up all over the locker room. Because if they have too many rules, then the coach probably sucks. If they have just 1 or 2 or 3 rules, then the coach probably is good. And it's because it's a basic pillar of education. All right, so think about this. If you have too many rules, if you have like 12 rules or 15 rules that everyone has to memorize and follow, it means what? Too many complications, lack of communication, especially with a large group of people. You have to keep it simple, stupid for everybody. The rest will take care of itself. That's why Bill Belichick has only one rule in his entire office. One rule when you enter the building. It's the famous, do your job. The same thing over and over again. Do your job. Keep it simple, stupid. So, what is this simple plan? Well, it only has 3 things. 3 pillars that Brian Kelly has followed everywhere he's coached. And the first pillar of success for Brian Kelly is have enough resources to run a good organization.
From academics to nutrition, from strength and conditioning to player development, from mental performance to mental health. And so those high-performance teams are what I do on a day-to-day basis.
This, of course, seems fitting, seeing as Kelly was speaking to a room full of boosters. But he's right. He's right. You have to have resources. I mean, I remember the day when Scott Woodward was hired and he had his opening press conference. And Scott Woodward said he loves American history and learning about American history. And he told a story about 2 generals before the Civil War. One was from the South and one was from the North. And the Southerner said the South's going to win because they have fighting spirit. And then the Northerner said, no, it doesn't matter. The North has all the resources. Resources and money, they matter. That's why at some places they don't have enough money to ever win a national championship. At LSU, they do. The second pillar of success for Brian Kelly is make sure all your players are accountable and self-disciplined.
You know when you have successful football teams, when that locker room is led by the players. The ability to have a player-led culture, when players are holding each other accountable on a day-to-day basis. And make no mistake about it, we have to help them become better leaders. We have to show them what leadership is about.
Look, this seems obvious, but you have to have player accountability with a large group of people, like a football team with over 100 players. Because the coaches are outnumbered by the players, all right? They can't be with them 24/7, 365. But what they can do is have players divided into groups with a leader, which is what the SWAT teams are. They have one captain of each group, and they look after one another when the coaches are not around. Basic shit. And the third pillar of success for Brian Kelly is positivity.
You're going to see that when we interact with our players, we're demanding, but never demeaning. We're going to demand the very best. So we're going to be demanding, but we're going to do it within a positive environment on a day-to-day basis so we can get the best out of you every single day.
Be demanding, but never demeaning. See, there's this thing that's pissed me off for most of my life, especially when I played sports and even after I finished playing sports and have gotten older. I think there's this notion by a lot of fans and a lot of, well, let's just say bad football coaches and bad coaches in general, that you can't baby these kids. You got to toughen them up. True, you do. But what they do is these coaches go out of their way to degrade them. They call them a pussy. They call them a loser. They call them stupid. They make fun of them in front of the team to try and motivate them to get them mad and angry. And look, I know it's cool to say, well, these kids today are soft. Okay, A, every generation in human history has said that about people younger than them. Congratulations. You're another fucking statistic. And B, that type of motivation, humiliation, that type of motivation in sports has never worked. It's a myth made up by bad football coaches who were never successful and a bunch of old-timer fans who don't know anything. It's basic psychology that has proven that humiliation is not a sustainable way to motivate a team. It may work in the short term, which is what undisciplined bad coaches do. They subscribe to humiliation because they can't do their job well. But in the long term, that doesn't work. It's not how you build a relationship. Just constantly humiliating somebody and taking personal attacks on them. That doesn't mean Brian Kelly's never going to yell at his players. That doesn't mean Brian Kelly's never going to curse in front of his players. It just means there's a line. Don't cross it. Attack what they're doing, not who they are. So, the next time any of you encounter a retarded person that says, Brian Kelly can't win at LSU because he's not a cultural fit, share this episode with them. Maybe that'll change their mind. Thanks for listening to Out of My League. If you like what you heard, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok in the description link below.